Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. Hello, everybody. I'm so glad to be here with you. It's the Spiritual Rockstar Podcast Show. We're here once again. We have some amazing guests here, and you are in such, you're going to have such a great time with us. We have the Money is an Energy Game subject. I mean, we've been talking about it's all energy, right? Forever. And now we've got the book right here. You can see my video. I'm putting it up. Money is an energy game. I got proof. It's right here. Okay. And it was my favorite game in the whole world, Monopoly, underneath. I mean, that is right there on the cover. So I'm just couldn't be more enthused for the opportunity to meet with our speakers today, with Peg and Madeline. Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free Meditate Make Money meditation today. So we're going to go ahead and dive in here in a second and tell you more about them, but just want to say hello real quick. Hi, Peg. Hi, Madeline.
Hey, Daniel. How are you?
Very good, and very wonderful too. I just love that you got the Monopoly game in there. You talk about everything. I can't wait. We got to dig in on the Monopoly. That's fun for us.
Or the game of life.
Yeah. Yes, all part of the game of life. So let me tell you about each of them. Madeline Gerwick is an internationally recognized certified astrologer specializing in business and economic astrology. Her background includes a BA degree with honors in economics and over 15 years in industrial sales and marketing experience with both small businesses and corporations. She's listed in several Who's Who books, including Who's Who in America, Who's Who in the World, and she has over 30 years of experience in astrology. Her unique combination of credentials makes her an in-demand speaker regarding economic conditions and business trends. Oh, we definitely want to tap into that. She consults with individuals and businesses of all sizes to guide them to higher levels of prosperity by working in harmony with the universe. She annually writes the Good Timing Guide, wonderful, and Good Timing newsletters. She also teaches prosperity training, 8 keys to the ultimately prosperous business, so businesses and individuals can learn new ways to attract money, sales, and abundance. So that's, we get all of that. Then we're going to double down on the value. We've got Margaret. Yep. Margaret M. She goes by Peg for purposes of today, but Donahue is a highly skilled business and personal consultant, teacher, and coach, specializing in feng shui, clearing energies and blockages, and refocusing clients to live authentic, prosperous lives using easy and practical tools. Oh my God, yes, please. Through many types of training, her numerous years in business leadership, she mastered the art of energy and its impact on personal business success. Peg holds an MBA from Boston University, a BA from Georgetown University. She is also a graduate of 3 professional feng shui programs, which include the Building Biology Institute, space and personal clearing trainings, plus several coaching and intuitive development programs. So it's just mind-blowing to me, all the things here. So she also taught and certified feng shui practitioners for 7 years at her own school, and the New England Center for Feng Shui and Intuitive Arts. In addition to an 8-year collaboration with Karen Kelly of Living Energy Works on stress reduction programs. So, okay, bottom line, they're qualified to speak, okay? Right? Okay. All right. So have just so pleased to drop in with you guys today to talk about this. Tell us about, tell me about Monopoly. I mean, if you talk to anybody in this family, let's say I'm the most competitive person in the world when it comes especially to Monopoly. Okay. I mean, I'm ruthless to Monopoly. And so what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that it's funny that we're on a spiritual rock stars show, and you know, I've analyzed like even like Monopoly. I've always looked at what are the parallels in the prosperity I'm able to create in my business and my life to Monopoly because I was so into it, especially when I was younger.
Mm.
And I have found some, and others are just. I'm like, well, it's not a complete fit, you know. Like, there are some parallels, and one of them is it's a game, right? And that's all part of the impetus of this book. So, um, tell me why that's on the cover, and tell us more about um, why money is an energy game. So, whoever wants to jump in.
Well, first of all, money, like everything else, is always made up at its core level of energy. So everything that you can see, feel, hear, touch, everything is made up of energy at its very inner core. And money is the same, and it's attracted to high energy. So when you're stressed out or angry or upset or sleep deprived or eating the wrong foods or not getting the right exercise, etc., you're also pushing your money away. Now, that's pretty unconscious for most of us. We're not aware of it. We don't connect those dots in general. And that's why Peg and I wrote the book. We were teaching 3 different programs, including that 8 Keys to the Ultimately Prosperous Business. And we decided, let's just put this all into one book and get it out to a bigger population. So
And
that's
go ahead,
Go ahead.
Madeline. I was going to say we made it a game to keep it fun.
Yes.
You know, to bring some levity to this. So it's not about competition. If there's any competition, it's competition within yourself. It's not really anything about competition with others. It's about mastering the skills so that you are attracting prosperity to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really about mastering your own energy and understanding the energy of the universe and understanding the energy of your space.
Right. Yeah, which you're both you know, so between the two of you, you got it covered, right? I mean,
we do.
That's right.
And we've been at this for many years. We met probably early in the 2000s. We were taking prosperity training classes. We were learning about manifesting, and we wanted to know, well, what do people say about this? How does it really happen? And so we met and through those programs, and then we decided to put together our own programs. And we started teaching, of all things, teleclasses. Yeah, we were trained in that. Yeah, it's been a while. That's how long we have been at this. And then things really evolved. We had 3 programs. We had the 8 Keys to the Ultimate Prosperous Business, Conscious Language. It was a student that asked us to put together the language classes, and we did, and it's a lot of fun. And then we created a 3rd program called Take an Energy Inventory for Prosperity. And then when we decided we wanted to take it to an even larger audience, we decided to put it together in a book. And that book took us 7 years to produce, because we were both working with our own businesses and have lots of interests and projects going on, and we just let it evolve. And business was changing rapidly during that time as well. And so, you know, we'd write one thing, and then, you know, might be a couple weeks later, we have to go back. Oops, we need to update that because there've been some new developments with that company.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, I remember, I started in the 2000s online myself too, pretty early on. And I remember that, like, there's just like, what's a teleclass?
Right.
I wonder if I could do a teleclass. It was like, even like, well, how do you do a teleclass? And like, now it's like everything is so different. I mean, it's still people have inhibitions, but like, it's like, yeah, you just do a class. Okay, whatever. Like, now it's more like that, and more so, in the marketplace, and there's still people terrified to share. But yeah, it's a little bit more like that. Things have evolved so much, but
and they have evolved so quickly. And Madeline has spoken and written about that over the years as well, because that's been part of the astrological patterns that have been out there.
Yes,
which is fascinating to me. I mean, that's all part of this money is an energy game topic. What are you seeing? I mean, I think that's something, because I talk about that. I've had shows where I talk about money prophecy and all this stuff, like just hearing and then what I'm tuning into and all that. So I'm curious, Madeline, especially, but both of you, like, what do you feel is, I mean, there's our own individual frequency, right? So that's to me, in a sense, kind of trumps everything in a way, in a way. You guys are, you tell me your perspective, but then we have the collective pattern. So
Right.
some people that most people are saying, hey, it's all going to come to a crash soon, and all this stuff, and I'm kind of wondering what you're seeing with the astrology and what you're sort of sensing with that, and therefore not only like, oh my God, well, there's something that we'll be worried about, but like, what are the opportunities as well for people within it? So I'd love to hear your perspectives on that.
Well, the economy switched in December 21st of 2021. We had Jupiter conjunct Saturn in Aquarius. And this actually set up a brand new type of economy. Astrologers call it an air economy. We had an earth economy. Jupiter and Saturn have been meeting in air signs since 1842. So that economy was about things like agriculture, manufacturing, services, financial products, all those kinds of things. Now, that economy is still there. It's not like you're going to stop growing food. That doesn't happen. But the new economy is more about technology. It's more about relationships, data, transportation, artificial intelligence, and how those kinds of things are going to grow the economy in new ways, you see. So it's not that you're going to not have these other types of businesses. They're going to incorporate into their businesses these new things, these new AI or these new technologies. They're going to start using relationships to sell and market to people and so on. And they've been doing that for a while. We've been transitioning for 20 years to this new economy. And it's going to take another 20 years to complete the transition. So there is what I would call a challenging cycle for the economy. That's Saturn square Uranus. It's happening all year. However, those are the two planets that are the rulers of the sign of Aquarius. And so to me, it's more about changing the structures that we have in our economy to more envelop and sort of welcome in these new technologies that are going to make all these changes. So, could we get med beds, for example? I think that's very possible. And there are a lot of things like that. Could we get replicators? I think that's possible. That's basically an advanced 3D printer, right? And so, yeah, there's a lot of things out there that I think we can get that will completely change the economy in ways we aren't thinking about at the moment. And as with everything, it takes some time. It may be faster than, say, the changeover from the horse and buggy to the car, but nevertheless, you have a fair number of infrastructure things that will have to change over time. And so you're not going to stop using gasoline cars next week. That's not going to happen.
Right. It takes its time. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It does take its time because look at the three of us here now. We're all in different locations, and I don't know about you, but when I grew up, we would watch the Jetsons.
Yes, right.
And remember, they had TV screens, and they were talking to each other, and they were in different locations. Well, that's here today.
It's crazy back then, right?
Yes, it was crazy back then, but here we are. This is commonplace today.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. It's like the palm of your hand, even, and like most of. I remember they used to be like real like smaller screens, but like real screens. I mean, I like these little tiny screens as well.
Oh my gosh, yeah. What's in the palm of our hand is incredible. When I first started in high tech, I had a job. I was in high tech for over 20 years. and long before the personal computer and phones and all that, the computers were massive.
Oh yeah.
Now we
They were
have
huge.
more in the palm of our hand than would have filled a room years ago.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's, to me, that's
Incredible.
prosperity. I think, because with everything, yeah, again, sort of, whatever, semi post pandemic, because some people would argue are in the thick of it still in some ways in the world, but whatever the perception is, but all these things going on, it's like, yeah, it's really stripped us of a lot of, orienting ideas about what our life
Mm,
is and whatnot, right? And so I think in that way,
yeah.
it's been for people that are open to seeing the good in it, is being able to see what's really happening with it. It's been such a gift for probably a lot of our listeners to be many people have said it's been a big awakening time for us. And I feel like there's so many more opportunities, and the more we can stop judging everything, even the things we say are bad, like, oh my God, I couldn't stand Trump, or I can't stand Biden, or I can't stand whatever. Google's messing with us, or whatever,
Well, if you read our book, you will realize that it's those attitudes, and it doesn't matter what spectrum you're on, they push money and prosperity away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
you want to focus on what
Yeah.
you want rather than what you don't want. Because whenever you're complaining about anything, the universe thinks you want more of that.
right.
So what's the point? That's crazy.
I'm guessing you guys see it the same way, because I've been noticing this even more so lately. It's even stronger in my awareness. It is a game. Everything's a game. I mean,
Yes,
it's all
yes.
a game. So in other words, if I'm like, oh, poor me, if I were in that energy, like, oh, poor me, everything's a disaster, the universe is like your playmate. Oh, yeah, isn't it? It's so horrible. Let's show you how horrible it is.
And you know what?
It's how horrible it is.
The universe will help you win that game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, it'll keep sending you horrible things.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you can never get from the universe something that you don't believe in or trust, right? So if you don't trust that the universe can help you, it won't. It can't, because you
Right.
can't believe that that's a possibility. But and on the other hand, if you are set on being a victim, it'll just keep delivering you victim type experiences. And if you think you're a winner, it'll keep delivering you winning experiences. So it's just dependent on your own perspective and what you're focusing on.
I mean, for me, I have a new saying. I just say, I'm totally about unity. I'm one with God. But if for some reason, this phrase helps me just to say, God's favor is with me, whatever's going on. It just
That's
relaxes.
good. Yeah.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
God's favor is
Excellent.
with me. It's just, and it's like when I'm in that mode, when I'm in that connected presence, I can't lose. Like whatever it is it's total magic. It's like, okay, you need new clients, you want new opportunities, you want this, you want extra fruit with your lunch. Like I got fruit with my lunch that I didn't ask for, but I was secretly yearning for. I love fruit with it.
Oh, cool.
Isn't it fun? Isn't it fun when
Yeah.
that happens, when those things show up? And
Exactly.
see what
That's
you
why it's fun. It's my game.
Right.
I
Right.
love attracting free food at restaurants. So I do.
Right. And what you also just described is about acceptance. So it's accepting things the way they are, but while you're also focusing on what it is you really want, for yourself. And then you can be delighted with what shows up.
Exactly. And there's no effort is what I love about it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
The more
That's the whole point.
my experience is if I try to put effort into it, you're already distorting things and ultimately will diminish results. You can see temporary results by putting a lot of effort in, but it'll crash, right? And
That's right.
results won't even be as good. So
all the efforting, you see what's going on there is you're in stress mode while you're efforting. You're actually feeling like, oh, I have to do all this, you see. And while you're in that mode, the vibration you're putting out is one of stress to the universe. And it's not necessarily listening to your words, right? Because the universe doesn't hear negative words, for example. It's really reading your vibration, your physical vibration. And that's why Peg does the emotional freedom and healing
Right.
release with the book.
Right.
And it's really important because until people release frequently, very unknown, unwittingly, these various beliefs or fears about money or prosperity from their body, that they're still putting out that fear energy of not having enough, and it's still going out no matter what you're thinking. So it's really a great addition to the book.
Right.
And
There's a 45-minute release. There's a link to a release. So if you have the Kindle, you just click on it. If you have the paper copy, you just type it into your browser and it'll take you to a 45-minute recorded session. And you can do that as many times until you feel that the holds of these situations have dissolved.
Yeah, I saw it because I have the book. I've been starting to read it, and I noticed that part in there with that, and I was curious about that because I mean that is so foundational, right? We have to shift up that energy,
Right.
whatever the techniques are, right? Whatever it is that the way that works. What makes this particular way of doing it maybe enhanced in some ways, or what do you like about it? The utilizing this particular.
Well, I was trained to do this probably close to 18 years ago by Richard Ross. And what I have found is this process seems to take people deeper. I mean, sometimes when I am facilitating with people, it's almost like I'm in a trance, doing it. And, I have to keep myself very grounded while I'm doing it as well. But the results that people get, that's what keeps me going with it. And people write back with really profound results of how their energy shifted in ways. And some people have been working on trying to release these blockages for years. And I do this release with people on all sorts of issues. Just and things that run very, very deep, for them. And that's the type of work that my career has evolved into, is doing a very profound and very deep work with clients. It's not just, feng shui. Some people think it's decorating on the surface. That's not what I do. The people who end up coming to me are really looking for profound shifts in their life. And I facilitate that. I lead them to it. It's not me doing it. I'm teaching them how to do it for themselves. And just as Madeline in her work is teaching people to do it for themselves. And that's what this book is all about. We want people to learn these skills, learn these patterns, and adopt them into their way of being, so that it's just the way that they live.
Yeah, it becomes like a paradigm shift.
Yes, right? It is a paradigm shift. Yeah. It's a huge paradigm shift.
Yeah. So they're no longer in fear of having money, of losing money, of not having money. All that is gone. Right. It's just that they understand that the universe will support them at every turn.
Right. Some of the base beliefs are, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve. And these are beliefs that are encoded in your cells, and they have been passed through generations. They come from your parents, they come from your grandparents, they may come from many generations. And you don't even realize you're carrying it, but you may, as you become more conscious and more aware of what's going on, the stories that you tell other people, you may realize, one day I was telling a story and I said something about I have to work, and I stopped myself and said, my gosh, one of my beliefs is I have to work very hard, to be successful. And right then and there, I said, I'm changing that right now. Right. And, my work is easy and my work is joyful. But I had been working very, very hard. Another one was about time. I'll think of all the beliefs we hold about time, that we don't have time. Well, I changed mine to I have more than enough time. And I see, time expanding. And some days I'll just do a meditation and visualize time expanding to fit in everything I want to get done that day. Yeah. And it's amazing how it happens.
Yeah, and I've done that too. I used to say, people would ask me how I was doing, and I'd say I was busier than a beaver. And the next thing I knew, I was busier and busier and busier.
Right. Right.
Until finally I realized I've got to stop saying that.
Right. It's
and
very
it was so
fun. Yeah, it's very fun when you tune in and are conscious about what you say and what happens as a result. Or just watch other people, listen to what they say and listen to their stories, not trying to change them. We cannot change any other person. The work is always on ourselves, but other people mirror us. They show us things that we benefit from switching, from changing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a tremendous, I mean, there's a tremendous grace of life that's just like there for us to be in sync with, and
right.
just we're like, I wonder what it'd be like to go against the current of life. Let's see what that's like.
I love that phrase, though, the grace of life. That is beautiful. That really is beautiful. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, there is, and that current just, it just easily provides for things. But with our conditioning, we've been told, like you've been saying, we've been told you've got to work hard, you've got to measure up, you've got to hit certain standards in ways that are stressful. Like you got to hit that thing. You make hit it.
Right.
Hit it
right.
up.
But you know what? You don't have to. There are other ways to do it. There are other ways.
I have a mentor. I mentioned some of my mentors on here. Mark Allen, I don't know if you've heard of him. He's published Eckhart Tolle, yeah. And he says he's as lazy as about anybody. He says only a person lazier maybe is Eckhart. They're both laughing with millions of dollars and impact that's huge.
But Eckhart put out a very important message. There's only two emotions, love versus fear. So when you're in love, you can't be in fear, but when you're in fear, you are not in love. So we get to choose. So choose love every day. And then that will help you to stay out of fear. So
and when you're in love, that energy is a very high energy. And so you're attracting money to you. It's very easy. People who fall in love frequently get more money because they're in that higher energy.
Right.
And so it's a wonderful energy to be in.
Yeah, one of my big breakthroughs with that was just that it's just when I woke up to my work and in being a healer, trainer, coach, etc. and whatnot is really an act of self-love. Like it's a whole thing, my whole life, not just in business, but particularly in doing my work was important for me because I was receiving money for it. I was like, but that's part of the self-love that you allow yourself to receive and receive abundantly. I mean, that's part of it is your giving of your gifts, and it totally delights you. The people that are successful in business, which are what people are looking for, that are listening to this show typically, it's, I find it's more about they're so in love with what they do. They're so intimately in love with what they do.
Right.
What they do, it's like a lover, like a love beyond all loves, that is generating the millions or the billions or whatever it is. That's what it is. They'll say, well, I got this key, I got that key, I got the other key. All those things are part of it, just like your book. Like all these keys, all these things are important. Well, one of the things I find is universal for sure is they're intimately in love with what they do. And
it makes a huge difference.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, because really, you want your work to be joyful. Because if it's not, and you're stressed out from being at your job, what are you doing? You're pushing money away. You see, and it's not just money too. Right. Prosperity is also having wonderful relationships. A home that feels wonderful and supportive. Home life, I should say, and work that is fulfilling and joyful for you. And if you don't have a joyful, fulfilling work, then that's a big portion of your life that is stressful for you and providing you an avenue of negative energy. So we want people to be doing things that they find a lot of joy from doing.
Yeah.
That's a very important piece to attracting money and prosperity, is to be in joy every day.
It sure is. Right. It sure
Yeah.
is. Just doing work you love.
Yeah.
Yes. So, yeah, you guys, there's so much in this book. You've hit like all the. You guys make sure you didn't leave anything behind in terms of like major categories for sure. Okay, you gotta look at your health and your diet as well, and your space and timing and all these things. One of the there's so many things that interest me. I mean, foundationally, I know whenever I shift my energy around my belief systems, there's a new sense of vitality, energy, and aliveness inside of me that starts informing how I'm moving in my life, which creates more opportunities for me
Mm-hmm.
to be who I am already and serve in a new way, right?
Right. Absolutely. So opportunities and then the experiences begin to show up.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But doing like your technique, your way of what do you call it again? To make sure I get the name right.
Oh, the emotional freedom and healing.
Right, that's what I thought. Yeah.
Release.
Emotional
Yes.
freedom and
It's similar to EFT, only I do think that this process goes deeper.
deeper. I was going to ask
Yeah.
you about that because I was like, oh, if surface, you look at it like sounds like EFT, but yeah,
It does. So the routine is very similar, but and the statements, there's a variation in the statements, and I just find that it takes me sometimes just very deep.
Yeah.
When you're doing
And it
this.
includes some deep breathing as well.
Yes.
And that's usually the point where I notice energies moving, is with the deep breathing.
And
Yeah.
then noticing what's happening in your body as you're doing this. And so
Yeah.
when I guide a client through this, the reason I guide them through it is so that they are not attached to their thoughts. Get away, get out of your head. You don't even have to, think about it. Just repeat what I say. And typically what happens is I will write up a series of release statements based on the topics of the issues that the person wants to release. And then we'll review those to make sure that it's hitting the mark. And then they can just, put aside, whatever they're doing and just sit, and I just do like a guided meditation, and we do the tapping right along, and then a series of affirmations at the end. And I record the sessions so they can also repeat them whenever they see fit.
Yeah, because a lot of times people release things in layers, kind of like peeling an onion.
Yeah.
So this particularly we find with money. People have a tendency to release a certain amount, and then it gets easier, and then they come up against it later. And so it's good to do it again when that happens, you see. And, I probably did it half a dozen times or more before I stopped having fear that there wouldn't be enough money.
Yeah.
Before, when that point came, it's like, oh, we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Well, because you also learned how to manifest it. So you did two things. You release the beliefs about and fears about not having enough, or not being able to generate enough, and at the same time, you also took on a knowing. I know how to do this.
Right.
I, can attract. I can put grow those skills, develop those skills, the attraction skills as to how things happen. And it's not just about money. It's about prosperity, and it's about abundance, because the experiences can come to you in different ways.
Right.
So can you give me an example of some of the results that you've been seeing, whether they be money or otherwise, from doing this deeper healing work that you're talking about? I'd love to hear, because always having the stories builds people's confidence that, yeah, it really is, because the mind sometimes says conditions, right? It is what it is, blah, blah, blah. So give us, if you have a story or an example or two, we'd love to hear.
Well, I have a client that consistently, he had bought the 8 keys to the ultimately prosperous business, but he consistently failed to listen to the release. He did this for years, and finally he was kind of up against a hard wall, shall we say. And I said, well, did you ever do that release? And he finally agreed that he would go do it that night. He called me up 3 or 4 days later and says, well, you wouldn't believe what happened. You know, as soon as after I got the release done, the next day this guy called me up and blah blah blah, and he signed the contract or whatever it was. And it really does make a big difference, you see. And so, and it's not just the release; it's also learning the tools, like Peg was just saying.
Mm-hmm. And doing releases, it's not just about the money. Sometimes it's about the sale of a house. I remember doing a release with a person about the sale of a house, and it was international. It had sat on the market for a long time. Shortly after doing the release, it turned out the buyer was in like the next community next door. She just did something different, found the house and loved it, and they were able to sell it very quickly.
Yeah.
And so it's about movement in your life. For whatever it is you're working to manifest. Go ahead, Matt.
Oh, I was just going to say, one of the tools that we teach for manifesting is we call it workshopping, what Esther Hicks called it, and we do that for all kinds of things. And that's another way to move energy, right? You're just thanking the universe in advance for having already provided whatever it is. So that you are going to receive it here in the present moment. So you're not going to ask for something, because if you ask for something, you're expecting it in the future, and you are never going to arrive in the future, right? Mm-hmm. So you're thanking the universe in advance for having already provided whatever it is, putting in those details and feeling super happy you already have it, right? We have done this for numerous things, and it has always worked. So, the two together, and Peg does great feng shui.
I was just thinking about that as well. So that would be another energy modality to work with. So feng shui is just the premise that your space is a reflection of your inner self. And one of the things we do is we put a symbolic map of life issues over your space. And this is in the Western approach to feng shui. I practice both the Western approach as well as the traditional Chinese approach. So in the Western approach, we have this what we call a Bagua map. It's just a grid of 9 spaces, like a tic-tac-toe board. And from how you enter a space, you come into a space, and then that far left or back left corner, it might be on the diagonal. You might come in on the left, the center, or the right, but that far left corner is what we call your prosperity area or your wealth area. So number one, that's a space always to keep energized, keep it clutter-free, keep the energy flowing there. You might put something like a green plant there. You could have reminders of abundance or prosperity or treasures there. It also goes for your desk. So you can place the Bagua on your desk. And the back left corner, the back left corner of my desk, I have the coolest gift, one of the coolest gifts I've ever received. It's a special inlay box that one of my brothers sent me when he was in the Mideast, and he sent it to me as a Christmas gift one time with gold, frankincense, and myrrh. And oh my gosh, that to me is like, that is abundance, and that sits right on my desk, and I just love having it there. And so you put a favorite thing there, and you can also put your intentions. You can write down your intentions, and when you're writing intentions, you'll always write them in the present tense, just as if they're happening now, for the reason that Madeline stated earlier. We are never in the past, we are never in the future, we're only ever and always in the present moment. So bring what you want into that present moment, make that a part of your experience. And in the book, Madeline has a chapter on good timing. I included a chapter on feng shui. So we have a lot about feng shui for an office, as well as feng shui for your home as well, how you can apply the tips. But it's about attracting abundant energy, abundant chi, and have it move smoothly through your space, not rushing chi or energy. Creates a lot of stress. So you want to have it meander through your environment and have it embrace you. And it makes a big difference. Yeah, it makes a big difference. So lining up the energy in your space and lining that up with the energy inside of you, I think of it as a dance. It's a mirror. You are mirroring your space is mirroring you. So it's like a dance going back and forth. And it doesn't
And
matter
then you're
where,
also marrying with the universe.
right,
Because the
right,
universe has a certain timing that
right,
it's proposing every day.
right,
So if we were always in alignment with the universe's timing, or in alignment with the energies that are in happening that day, then we would have a much higher rate of success, because we wouldn't be taking important actions during times when nothing's going to come of it, and so forth. So, and we'd be taking actions on days when there's a good final result.
right.
Maybe there's a money day, maybe it's a good communications day, maybe it's a good new start day, maybe it's a good negotiations day, whatever. But you would be working in harmony with the universe by knowing what time it really is.
Right. And it doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't matter if you start on the outside, say with your space, or you start on the inside with yourself, with a meditation, or just becoming aware or more conscious, or changing your language. It doesn't matter. Eventually, you are going to end up doing both. You're going to get your space in shape, and you're going to get yourself in shape.
They work on each other. It's all one in a way.
It absolutely is. So, in the book, we also talk a lot about conscious language, being very mindful of the words that you use. And you can do this by paying attention to the stories you tell, and then tell them in such a way that it is about what you really want to have happen. So sometimes it might be adjusting the ending or not agreeing. Families get together, and I come from a large family, and so I know this one really well. So it's about not joining in on those conversations or those stories. Become aware of them, but you don't have to agree with them. In fact, don't agree. If there's all negativity or gossip, and don't pass them on. I remember years ago, I was chatting with one of my sisters. I have 5 sisters, and she was on the phone. I think she called me, and she was complaining about another sister. And so I just let it go on and just listen. I almost wanted to just put the phone down, but I just listened. And then at the end, I said, okay, now before we get off the phone, we're going to come up with 5 things that we like about our third sister. Oh, that's too hard. I can't do that. So I said, I will start. And I think I came up with something. She is very passionate about her beliefs. Oh, yeah. I said, and she's very determined. Oh, yeah. And then my sister that I was chatting with on the phone was able to easily come up with 3 positive things about her. So it's a matter of just switching, just acknowledge. So let people be as they are, but we don't have to agree with them, and we don't have to reinforce it. In fact, backing off from any of those negative situations and showing people a different way, a different path forward, is a way to cultivate prosperity for yourself as well, and to help them.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I found myself doing recently was with family talking, somebody talking in my family about something. And I was just, oh, this is like this scene's happening. And I was just inwardly praying the whole time. I was just inwardly affirming whatever I wanted to affirm about it the entire time. And I just let them have their space.
That's right.
Think that way or whatever. And before you know it, they stop. Then the person quits talking about that thing.
Well, that's right, because it takes more than one person to keep it going.
Yep.
So you just don't engage, and accept people for who they are, but we don't have to feed into it.
Yeah.
Well, and your conversations, whatever type of conversations you're having, that is one of the factors that is going to impact your own energy. And because it impacts your energy, it impacts your bank account. Yeah. So it's important for people to think about that. What kind of conversations do they want to have with their family members and their friends? You see, because if you're having down conversations, you see, that's lowering your energy, that's pushing money away. You're listening to media on TV or in even the internet or movies that brings you down. You're pushing your money away. You see, and so it's really important to think about the overall impact of what you're taking in every day, whether it's a conversation or some some type of food that may not be so good for you.
Right.
It doesn't really matter. And if you're not getting enough sleep, you can't attract money when you're exhausted. Right. So
as part of, in the book, we have a section, the third part of the book is about taking energy inventory for prosperity. So it's 6 parts to it. And all you do is just observe and notice for a week. So one is about sleep. Just note your patterns. That's all you have to do. There's a check sheet there. You can actually go to the web and print it off, or you can copy it from the book. There's a week on food and nutrition, and it's not about going on a diet or counting calories.
Right,
It's about connecting the food you eat to your levels of energy.
Right.
To how you feel.
And your intuition.
Oh, absolutely. That's a big one. There's a week on thought and mental patterns. It's another week on emotions and feelings. It's a week on exercise, movement. What kind of movement are you getting every day? There's a week on spirituality. Yeah.
All these weeks are laid out where then again?
It's in part 3 of the book. So it's, I think it might be,
yeah,
you'll get there. So it's part 3. So there's a chapter on each of the topics.
I see.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah. I mean, because to me, that's the gamification and part of it, right? Is you've got a week, like, oh, what's this week? Yay!
Right. Well, the game actually comes after that. So the game is about you just deciding what it is you would like to create, and then you get to do it your way. You can do it by yourself. You can do it with colleagues. You can do it with family. It doesn't really matter, but it's about choosing something. And when we say, start small, start easy. Don't make this, make it fun for yourself. Choose something.
I was going to say we want the game to help you integrate all the different tools that we have put into the book. So you get to choose which tool you're going to focus on.
Right.
And kind of keep track of the points of when you use that tool or when you accomplish that particular integration.
And we have over 100 tips, tools, and techniques in the book. So there's something there for everyone. And you get to pick which one that, this would be fun. I would like to really work on this. I would like to work on noticing the words I use. Or I would like to work on telling a new story, telling a story a different way. Or I'm definitely going to work on, only telling a story 3 times. Sometimes these stories, they take on a life of their own and they grow bigger and bigger, right? So refraining from that.
It's also great if you can have a friend, a confidant, or a family member that you will agree to listen to their stories and hear what they're saying and feed that back to them, and they will do that for you.
Yes.
Because we typically don't hear our own words, our own stories. We can say them over and over again and never notice, you see. So it actually works to your benefit to have an agreement with another person and work on it together.
Yeah. My husband's often telling me, now don't forget. And I will reply with, I'll remember. He hasn't caught on yet.
Telling you basically forget, right? Great.
And so I always say, I'll remember.
Right. Yep. Yeah, totally. So there's also you talked about a little bit. I wanted to make sure we cover this before we start wrapping up today. Madeline, you talked about the right timing and all that, and that's something that is so important and undervalued, that there is a timing for things. Yes. And when we go against it, like I used to say, Mercury is in retrograde, fine, I'm tripling my business now, because I'd be so mad that there's these forces going on and that I'm not in control and I can't make it happen. Well, screw that, I'll show you. And then I would, quite frankly. But it was always with this kind of anger almost, really. It was a game, but it was with anger. It was like, I'm going to show you this works. And after a while, that game's getting old. You don't want to be angry, right?
It comes with
not that much fun.
Right. It comes at a very high cost, the cost of stress and the cost to your personal energy.
Exactly. Which I I appreciated more like, well, I could make something happen more back then than I did the, letting it be easier. So, so now it's more interesting to me. Hey, no, let it be easy. You start having more stress, maybe a back pain or whatever, something comes in your body, whatever it is, something blows up somewhere, right? And it's
Right.
like, okay, maybe I'll listen now. Okay, I'll listen a little bit more. And but yeah, if we can get into that right timing, a lot of that is understanding, who we really are and everything. And that's part of what's so important. And then knowing the cycles of energy for ourselves, right, Madeline?
Right. Well, I put out a book called The Good Timing Guide. I do this every year. I've done it since 1997. And it just is a color-coded guide so people they don't have to know any astrology. They can just know this is a good day to do this, or it's not a good day to do this, or it's not a good time. Maybe it's a timeout when nothing's going to come of it. So they can just look at the guide and look at the color codes and the times in the guide and know, yeah, this is a good time or it's not a good time. And so it's just, let's make it easy for people. If they've got something really important, I recommend they get a custom timing, because there's a lot in the custom timing that you can't get from a good timing guide. But at least the good timing guide is getting you in the right vicinity. You might not have the right 10 minutes, but you've got the right day or that sort of thing, you see. And not everything requires a custom timing. It's only when you have something big. You're going to introduce a new product. You could make a lot of money on it. Or you're going to start a new company. That's a big deal. You're going to sell your house. You're going to introduce or launch a new website. Sign a big contract with a big company. Those are
you're going to get married.
Yeah, you're going to get married or
one.
have surgery. Yeah, those are the times to have a custom timing. But for everyday use, the good timing guide is good enough. You'll know this day has a good outcome. If I start something on this day, it's going to have a good outcome. It might be challenging here or there based on the other color codes, but it's going to end up well. Or not, depending on the day.
You still, at the end of the day, I mean, it's one of those things that's supportive, but at the end of the day, you have to really follow what your own deepest knowing is as well, right? I mean, this guide says don't do it, but I feel like it's the right day, right? So there's always that, right?
Do it.
Counterbalance, but there's probably a high level of correspondence most of the time between what the guide's saying, just like, when you put cards out, like tarot cards or whatever it is, people use to help you understand what's going on, right? Like, it's helpful, right? It's helpful.
Absolutely. Pay attention to your intuition. And I have used astrology since I was a teenager. And what I've always found is it's a roadmap.
Yeah,
it's not like the end all, but it's a roadmap. It's a great tool. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I really appreciate this book. So you're saying this is the one that took 7 years, or no?
7 years.
It did.
Wow, 7 years. I get it, because it's a fairly big book. It's not tiny, and it's beautiful the way it's laid out, and it's very, very well put together and organized, and it's quite comprehensive. And like I said, I haven't read through it all the way, but I love the way that you read.
I think for a while we may have been ahead of our time, just putting out this information, and then things were changing so fast. We decided, we have got to get this out. This is very, very timely. Yeah. This is information. This is information that will really help people. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people talk about money as energy, but money as energy, but it's an energy game, and the layers of support that you bring into the book is, I think, what makes it particularly unique as well. So
thank you.
Anyway,
thank you.
Yeah. So anyway, so this is great. And if people want to get a copy of the book, or they want to learn more about you, where should they go?
Moneyisanenergygame.com.
That's easy.
Yeah. Moneyisanenergygame.com. It's very easy.
All there, right? So reach you guys,
and they can either get a printed book or a Kindle book from that site as well.
Great, great. Well, I'm looking forward to going through it. I mean, you tell me we're going to have fun and it's a game. Hey, I'm going to definitely, especially if it's with money.
Yeah.
How irresistible is that?
That's right. So we'd love to hear back from you about how you're applying some of the tips, tools, and
Absolutely.
techniques in there. Yeah.
Yeah,
That would
and
be
once
fun.
you read the book, you can go to our site and apply for the prosperity bonus. You tell us 3 things that you did using the tools, and then we'll send you a prosperity bonus.
And the results. So 3 things you did and the results. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, that's wonderful. That adds to the game, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful. Well, as we're starting to wrap up today, this is a time of the show where I usually tune in to, well, today, my guests rather than one guest. So, all right. So I take a minute or 2 usually for to do that. So are you ready to receive my downloads about more about the awesomeness of what I see is coming through for you guys with your gifts?
Sure.
I am sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever wants to come through. Okay, so great. All right, everybody. So I'm going to tune in just one moment. Okay, so right now I was just reading with you, Peg, like that you're like that wonderful longshoreman that just knows everything that needs to be taken care of. Like you're tightening up whatever needs to be tightened up and taking care of everything and accounting for things is what I was hearing. You're accounting for things. Okay, we've got X of these, we need 3 more of those. Like so it's really wonderful. It's got a fastidious kind of energy to it. So that was part of it. But you also have a very high level of awareness and creativity as well. So you can see things that other people aren't noticing. So I've noticed this is going on in the scene here, and nobody else is seeing it, right? But Peg says that detail's missing. It should be right there. So this is a wonderful gift to keep doubling down on, and for the growth of the business, you know, that'll, you know, if anything, again, it always calls out for more of our whatever our gifts are. So more and more of that will be important. Let me see what I get with Madeline too. So I'm getting Vision Keeper. So you're you're the one that will get visions that'll come to you and the big plan. Like here's the plan. Like here's the tapestry of this plan. And you know, I think maybe we need a house over here, and you know, we need public works over here, and like that. Like you see like it could be like a game board, right? So like just
Right.
here it is, you know, and so and then from a spiritual energetic perspective, I mean, it makes sense with astrology, but like I just can see, like you can see like what in general needs to happen here. This was one of the reasons why you guys complement each other so well. It's not like you exclusively have these gifts, right? But I'm just saying, like, Peg could come in and be like, well, great, Madeline, but like, what kind of wood are we going to use? Right? So like that's where she's able to get maybe the details a little bit more and help make sure that those things are provided for. So so that's wonderful. But you're always like on that mountaintop, Madeline. You're sort of on that mountaintop. You can see, this is what's going on in the big picture all over the place, and therefore this and that. So it's pretty cool, the dynamic duo you are. Let me see if I get one more message for one or both of you combined. Let's see. Okay, so the message is keep your boots on the ground because you're about to really soar. So in other words, the incoming is going to may elate and raise your vibration tremendously. However, you have to keep your boots on the ground.
Right.
Otherwise, it's like, whoa, whoa, you're gonna your bodies, and then it's like, holy cow, what kind of crap we got to deal with now? That blew up, this blew up, even though we're having a good time and all this prosperity is coming in. So it's like, wait a minute, you better keep the boot. Now, Peg will help with that, but got to keep the boots on the ground. So does this make sense to you guys?
Oh my gosh, this is so on target.
Okay, awesome, good.
Absolutely.
Yeah, what a gift you have.
Yeah, reaffirm what you probably like. It's helpful. It's helpful to hear.
Yeah, we keep each other in check.
Good.
Yeah, we do.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're a couple of Virgos, you see, so we're both grounded.
Very good. Very good. Awesome. Awesome. But it's good. It's wonderful because when you've established something and then it wants to go to another level, you have to embrace the unboundedness, right? You have to embrace that. I feel like you guys are ready for that. There's always the hesitation. Oh my God, my stars, right? What are we doing? But I think you're willing enough to let it happen.
Yes.
Allowing it to
We're willing, we're figuring out, we have figured out how to fit it in because we both have a lot of interests that we do.
Exactly.
And make it work. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So anyway, so I'm grateful to share that with you. And if people want to learn about me, you can go to yoursacredpurpose.com. And again, it's got my free make money meditation there, folks. And people keep opting in for it. And I know that the people I talk to anyway, love it. And the people that use it regularly are, of course, they're seeing more prosperity. They have more money.
Good. That's the way it should work.
So make sure you get your free make money meditation at yoursacredpurpose.com. There's also an opportunity to apply to get an energy scan consultation with me if you're looking to rock it. If you're a spiritual rock star in your own right, but you're ready to go to your next level and you're wondering how I got so many ideas. I wonder about all these things that want to happen through me. How's it going to work? I'm the guy that you can integrate it all and have it all ground and land and come into your body and move forward with your business at the next level. So I'm grateful to share that with you. And I'm going to give you guys the last word for the show today. So what's the good word? What's the last things you'd like to share with our audience for today?
I would say find something to be happy about every day. And that will, just carry you forward. Live your life in joy.
And to know that the universe really does want to support you and to provide you with a prosperous, happy, lovely life. And when you trust that, you can much more easily create it.
Awesome. Yes. All right. Wonderful. So I'm just so grateful to have you both on the show today. And lots of love and blessings to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it's really been a lot of fun chatting with you. And we really appreciate it as well. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. And everybody, thank you for listening in. Keep on tuning in. We'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. So next time, everyone. Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Wednesday and Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.